Hello, everyone. This is Aaron Koninski, the host of the Aaron's Journey podcast. And today I have a very special guest with me here today.
How we doing,
Um,
everybody?
would you mind giving an elevator pitch of who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Anthony, and I run Ho Bott News. It's an online news community that started on Facebook and has gravitated out the last 6 years. We're up to about 120,000 followers, and also I run a sports trading card business and a hot sauce business. So we make trading cards for local athletes and make some good, delicious hot sauce and a bunch of other fun things, and try to do a lot of community events and keep the community updated about what's going on with local sports. And also, I graduated from Shamokin, so keeping everybody updated what's going on in that
Yeah,
town.
which as I mentioned before, I've kind of told you this, but I originally graduated from Schmoken as well.
Oh, like, yeah, I know, that's awesome. So what year did you graduate?
I was I remember I graduated. It was 2000. I graduated from my class of 2016.
Okay. So I'm much older than you. I'm 2007. So you got many years on me, many years.
Yeah, so 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 yeah, with that elevator pitch there, you have been for quite the career, haven't you?
I mean, I don't know. I'm a really I went to school for music. I've been a musician. I've run music festivals my whole life and toured in bands. So I've always considered myself a musician. This more or less kind of happened by accident. I was working at WKOK, and my friends would just text me and say, "Hey, what's going on over here?" Because I had a scanner at work, and they were like, "Hey, you should start posting that on Facebook." And then one thing led to another, and then I got the viral. If you're familiar with me and the viral videos that I have, the 5 to 10 that have gone off, from like the Centralia video to like the BML riots in Philly and the Turkey Hill fight and the couple standoffs, and they all kind of just rolled into one thing. So it's hard for me to like pinpoint any one place, or to even really say like what my goal was or whatever. Sometimes you just kind of got to roll with what you got, and I'm just kind of just rolling with. I always wanted to be known to be someone come up and be like, "Oh, you're that guitar player," but that's not the case. Someone just says, "Hey, you're that Ho Bott guy," which is totally fine. Which is totally fine.
Yeah, so in a way, you kind of answered one of my questions, which was what inspired you. Well, not 100%, but before that, what was life like for you growing up?
Well, I grew up here, so I mean, I could throw a rock and hit my house that I grew up in till I was 10, and then I moved out to Trevenant Road when I was 10. I mean, I had a typical childhood. I had good parents. I was a basketball kid. Spent my whole high school career doing basketball, chasing girls around. Went to Penn State. Got lazy like most college kids do. Went to school for music. Nothing too spectacular. And then I would say maybe, I toured and did a whole bunch of different stuff from college until about 30. And I'm 37 now. And I would say around 30 is where I really started taking my career seriously and started pushing myself. But there was nothing really of in my upbringing that was particularly like defining or anything. I mean, I've had some. I was in a bad car accident when I was 18, and that kind of messed me up for a little bit, but nothing too crazy. And like I said, I good parents, good family. We're still around now, so uh, you know, yeah, that's my upbringing is pretty much around here. I lived in Philly for 2 years and then came back. maybe about 5, 6 years ago. So,
Yeah, so so yeah, which then goes on further with one of the questions I was asking you about earlier. If you want to further deep dive into it, I'll go ahead and ask the question quick. So what inspired you to get into the industry, and then of course, start your own news media company?
all right. So, like I said, it was more of almost like a side thing, joke thing, pay fun things about the coal region. But then I kind of at WKOK, and I kind of felt like, a lot of people wanted to know what was going on when, they saw sirens and lights and the way the internet goes and the way things go so fast now. People don't want to wait until 8, 9 in the morning to get a paper and, or have an online article posted. They want to know right away. So really, it kind of all evolved. It really all evolved from that. But and then it just kind of, I was just kind of trying to find the void of news that existed, if that makes sense. Mainstream media gives you news a certain way. WNEP was a lower form of, or a smaller form of mainstream news, gives you there. And then you have, like, the daily item, the news item, and everybody has like their particular format. But I feel like that fast delivered scanner and with no bias, no just literally the information, and then everybody can do with it what they please. I feel like it's something that is missing in media. Um, every single media outlet or has some type of bias, and it's in everything, and it's just weird to me. And I just feel like it just needs to get back to where we just give information and everybody can decide for themselves. But it seems like we're too far past that point. So I just try to do what I can in that regard. And then now, as Ho Bott evolves more, it gets more into covering community, covering sports, helping find lost children, helping find lost pets, fundraising for people who are in need, and things that, what I feel like, to give back to the community, that I would, that I just think that are good things for, to just make our town better, that I could use my outlet for. But like I said, it's evolved a lot. Like I said, at first I was just like joking around and thinking, oh, this is fun. Like, I'm just doing this as a side thing. But then when you have 50, 75, 100,000 followers, you realize people actually are relying on you for information and relying on you, in their daily life. And, you know, then it all changes, like I said. And now it's a whole machine now, running the whole operation. But I love it. I literally wouldn't change it for anything. It's been the most uh rewarding thing I've ever done in my life, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, what are so like in the long run, you kind of slowly you kind of smallly elaborated on this particular question, but I figure you might want to deep dive further. So for you, what are some health challenges you had to face throughout your life?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess like it started in, I was a month premature, so obviously I don't remember all this, but I had like ear infections, nose infections, throat infections, all while I was young, until I was about 4 or 5, and then I had to get tubes in my ears and my adenoids out and a couple other things. Nothing too crazy. But that was kind of the start of it, where I always had problem with like my eustachian tubes and my throat and my nose. And then I was pretty good until, like I said, I got in a bad car accident when I was 18. It pretty much ended my basketball career. Um, I mean, I'm still good. Just a couple of like dings and things that lingered over the years. That was more physical, just a physical thing. And then yeah, I mean, more recently, the last couple of years has been crazy vertigo and the outcomes of all of that. And then, that's obviously turned into, we found out that it was a brain tumor. So I don't know. I guess at this point, when you're doing, I've kind of, I guess I also forgot to mention this. Sorry to go back. I also had two reconstructive nose surgeries because I was born with a deviated septum. So when I was about maybe 27, 28, I got this one done and it collapsed. And then I had to get it done again. And that was extremely painful. Oh, man, it was brutal. Um, and it's just so, I guess when you're just kind of doing these things all the time, it just becomes the norm, and you just kind of, I don't want to say I brushed it off. I mean, don't get me wrong, the last couple of months have been really tough, finding out about this brain tumor, not knowing what's going on, and then slowly coming to realization and dealing with it and everything. But I just feel like everybody has their cross to bear, whether it's health, mental health, family problems, personal problems, like literally financial problems, anything. And I feel like everybody gets a pretty even plate, for the most part. And you just have to learn how to be strong and to deal with it. But, you know, and I always say too, someone always has it tougher than you, and they're, somebody that has it tougher than you is being tougher than you right now. That's what I always like to think as, like, there's somebody that's doing something way crazier than me, and going through something way crazier than me. So there's no reason that I can't be tough enough to do this. So I kind of just try to look at it like that. And where I'm currently at is I'm feeling a little bit better since I've actually like started to walk on a treadmill and lift weights a little bit. So I'm trying to get out of, recovery and on my way to recovery. So just kind of focusing on that, and just being really grateful for that, because for a long time I we just didn't really know what was going on for a couple of months there. So I would say that's really the most recent thing, is the thing that's the most in front of my mind, I guess, and then I'll just kind of forget about it. It's just like, why remember all that stuff? Focus on the
Yeah,
good stuff. Always
yeah,
focus on the good stuff.
yeah, absolutely, Anthony. Because when it comes to health challenges, I can relate myself. Because with me, I was born 3.5 months premature myself. I had various health complications like level 3 and level 4 brain bleed, seizures, and other various health issues, including like cerebral palsy of the left side and asthma and all that. But I've never let any of that stop me.
And honestly, Aaron, I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even know. Wouldn't even know. I honestly wouldn't even know.
Yeah, yeah, because for me, I've been doing, of course, been doing public speaking, um, disability self-advocacy, the podcast and everything else for many years now, and it's just quite profound on how far both of us have come over the years.
Well, I mean, honestly, it was an absolute honor when I saw your comment and what you said, and honestly, that is to me what it's all about. Is, you kind of work hard and you put your head down and you do all these things, and sometimes you wonder, is it worth it? Is this sort, and then you see something like this, or a connection that we can get like this, two people with the same goal inspire, and when I saw your comment, I mean, it makes all the hard work and everything worth it, to be like, this is the right thing. This is the right thing to do. This is what we should be doing. And by the way, not to like interrupt, but that Mario Kart shirt is amazing. I have
Thank
to
you.
say, I'm a big video game guy, so I was just like,
Yeah.
I had to throw the shout out to the Mario Kart. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, Yeah, because for me growing up, yeah, because for me growing up before, because for me growing up, I was one of those people that given how I grew up physically and with my health and everything, I was one of those people that was all in when it came to, video games, computers, technology, pop culture, all that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah.
One of the best things to be like, one of the reasons I like sports and pop culture and do all the things and keep up with all that is because you can talk to anyone about that stuff. You know what I mean? It's a great way to, to be able to, you can walk up to anybody. I can walk up to somebody with a Mario Kart shirt and have a 20-minute conversation about banana peels. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh boy. Um, if you okay, this is gonna be a bit of a fun question for you. If you had the chance to go back in time, would there be anything you wish you could have done differently?
it's a good question. I mean, it's tough to say that you want to go back and do something differently because right now I'm probably the happiest I've ever been in my life. I mean, so for me to get here, you know, I had to go through all that stuff to appreciate what I have now. I don't know if that sounds cliche, but I mean, of course, I could go back and say, you know, I wish that as soon as I got out of college, I like hit the ground running and didn't just say, oh, I'm a great guitar player. Like it'll just work itself out. Because I did that for, probably like 6 or 7, 8 years to where I really realized where it's like there's a million bands, a million festivals, you better find a niche. So there was, an 8 to 10 year lull, I would say, where I was kind of finding myself and I don't know, finding my work ethic. So it's just, did I have to go through all that stuff so that I would be working my butt off now? I would say probably. So it's hard for me to say to go back and do things differently. Maybe the only thing that I would could say, and I still say to this day, is I wish I eat better. If I'm watching this, eat better and exercise better always. That's the one thing. Just take care of myself better. I don't. I
Absolutely.
just ate chicken wings. I just ate chicken wings before this. Not good,
Yeah. Absolutely.
but they're so
Absolutely.
delicious.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, I have a couple more questions before we wrap this up.
Sure.
So, um, so, so you may have, so I don't know if you've looked into what I do, but, but do you have any questions about me, my podcast, and what I do?
Yes, was going to ask you, but I didn't want to interrupt you before. I would just like to know, like you're bringing up story, like how you got started from the bottom, and then how you got into media, and basically what is your overall goal for where you were when you started, and now what is your goal moving forward with now you being established at the point that you are now? Like, what is your next step? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, good question. When it comes to that, um, for me, I'll give you a bit of a background, like when it comes to my interest in media, a little bit outside the pop culture. Many years ago, when I attended Schmoken back many years ago, they used to have a mass media class that I usually attend for, like, broadcast journalism and everything else and all that and stuff like that, and I of course did that for, for a time, and then of course over time, in I think it was 2014, I then discovered the whole concept of a podcast and everything, like a podcast radio show or whatever. And I pretty much started that in that summer of 2014. And um, essentially, with my experience, I've gotten to meet many people within the industry, such as big names, such as such as voice actors, such as Debbie Derryberry, Mark DiCarlo, um, offers like Talia Flores or or DJ Bob Runkle, host of the DJ Bob Show, and many other different guests. And essentially for what I do, I've been able to get connections, through the industry. And with where I'm looking to go in the future is I'm hoping to eventually get to a point where I can have some form of career or something, in the industry somehow.
So to make this like your full time, like a full time, you know what I mean. You're waking up every day and going to work and doing that every day, which I'm sure you're probably doing already at this point, anyways, right?
Not really, not really. For
No.
when doing this, this is only part time.
Okay, it's only
During my free time because for where I currently work, I've been working over at Suncom Industries, which they have the various departments, including where you sort like hangers, packaging, different stuff like that. Specifically a place for people with disabilities to be able to work
yeah.
and so forth. But other than that, is there anything else within that question you would like to ask?
So if so, where do you feel like? I guess this is just kind of a add on to that. So where do you feel like is your best outlet? Like where you get out the best? Like your podcast. Like is there a certain social media outlet that like do you like Facebook the most, YouTube, or do you feel like you want to try to focus on one? Or are you trying to do? Because just coming from my perspective, like I have an issue with all of my stuff is on Facebook, but also my audience, that my typical audience is more of people that would be on Facebook, but knowing over time that that's going to change and getting to TikTok and Instagram and YouTube is probably important, or podcasts or whatever. And I'm just curious as what you think is most important and what you feel like is your strong suit.
Um, I would say my strong suit before I expanded to other social media. I would say my strong suit was when I originally had a page based off my journey for many years back in 2009, and then I ran that for a set of years. And then of course when I went onto the podcast, of course I did. Of course, I've always been doing the podcast in audio form, but there have been points I thought about expanding to video form. But the problem is, outside of my studio, I don't necessarily have a full setup.
Yeah.
Like because as you can see right now, the most I have, I'm sorry, give me a minute.
No, you're good.
Like the most I have is where I of course have the webcam I'm using right now, and then of course an audio interface, and then of course the condenser microphone I'm using right now. So,
So
and
my
this is and
question,
this is all and this is all within this is all within the bedroom of the house where I'm living at.
so what else would you need on top of what you have now to help you out with your setup?
Well, I would need to have to be a situation where I'd have to get like a professional, like I'd have to get a professional camera set up and everything else, like all that various equipment to where I'd be able to do more professional quality but more professional quality of the podcast.
All right, so if
If I were to do it in video form. I
maybe
mean,
like a
I've
cat.
done it in video form,
Hmm.
but most of the time when I did it, it was usually where it was just the interviews that
Yeah.
were pre-recorded.
Because yeah, because like if you get a nice, if you, it's also too, like one of the big things that I always recommend and I always say is a huge difference in podcasts because not even going into video is just you can buy like a cheap like a microphone and it doesn't even have to be expensive. It can just be a USB one that plugs right into your computer. I use them all the time and they will increase the quality of like the sound of your voice by so much and it's so worth it and it doesn't cost a lot. That's one thing that I noticed that when I watch like YouTube videos or listen to things, I will listen to things longer that where the guy has like a really nice mic. It's just like the voice becomes like soothing almost. So it's like
Yeah.
that's something. But yeah, I mean, it's really to get to, you got to get just a nice camera and a nice microphone, and you would be okay. That's all about you would probably need.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, so anyway, like when it comes to that, so then when it comes to that, to wrap this up, how can people connect with you?
Well, I got my website, hobuttnews.com. That has the hot sauce, trading cards, all kinds of cool stuff. Also, I have an eBay store called My Good Cards. My main site where we got the 120,000 people is facebook.com/Hobart News. And then, Instagram, TikTok, all the same at Hobart News. Yeah, it's not hard to find. It's not hard to find us. Me, I guess. So I say us all the time, but it really is just me. But
Okay, and before we go, do you have any final words of encouragement or wisdom that you would give for somebody if they're looking to get into the industry?
into this industry or just yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, it's tough in every industry. I got into the music industry and people told me not to do it. And I now when I'm older, I understand why they said that. The media industry is very tough right now. But what I will always say is if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. So, and you will be rich. So it's just like, I work every day and I love it and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So if you work hard, things will work out, but you have to truly work hard. And that's it. And it's, no matter what you want to do, whether it's media or be a weightlifter or what I mean, be the president, all that kind of stuff. No matter what you want to do, it's just all about working hard and things will work out for you. You will always fail, but you just got to learn from it and keep moving on. So I would never discourage anybody from getting into any field that they would ever want. But I just saying that if you're going to get into this field, you're going to have to work 10 times as hard as everybody else. And everybody already works very hard. So but it's like I said, it's fun. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Absolutely. Um, so Anthony, I would like to thank you so much for coming on today, to tell your story and to talk about what you do. And it was an honor, and it was a huge honor finally being able to meet you after all these years.
Well, Aaron, all I'd say it was an honor to meet you, and I'm so happy that you reached out and we got to do this. And this is definitely not the last time we're going to do stuff. We are going to stay in touch and we're going to keep doing things. This isn't a one-off for sure. So just make sure that you keep in touch with me and keep reaching out and all that stuff. And you know, it, at the very least, we'll do this. We'll do this talk again in a couple months or something like that. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Keep in
So
touch, Aaron. Keep playing Mario Kart too. We might have to play.
Yeah.
We might have to play some 64. That's the one I'm really good at. Mario
Yeah.
64. Yeah, so I don't know, like if you're good at the Super Nintendo one or like Double Dash, then like yeah, okay, you probably got me. But if we're playing 64, I got you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
So,
take care, and I appreciate you very much.
yep. Thank you, Anthony.
Yep, take care.
And this is the end of my interview with Anthony from Ho Bott News. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview, and I'll see you guys later.